Aloha, and welcome to another episode of Maunalua, Past, Present, and Future. My name is Kendrick Chang. I am part of Youth for Ka'iwi, a subgroup and part of the Ka'iwi Coalition campaign. And joining me today is Laura and Wilson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Before we start, why don't you give the viewers a little bit about yourselves?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Laura Kaʻakua, and I'm a Native Lands Project Manager with the nonprofit, the Trust for Public Land. And so our role in this effort to protect the Ka'iwi Coast Mauka lands, which are the last threatened parcels along the Ka'iwi Coast, is primarily to see the transaction from start to finish and assist the community in protecting the lands through a fee simple purchase, and then assisting them in getting ready to steward the lands.
And Wilson, actually, you go a long way back with Ka'iwi, and if we can pull up on the screen the map of Ka'iwi, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history.
I'm Wilson Kekoa.
Yeah.
Wilson in business, Kekoa in the community of Waimānalo. Born and raised, and been traveling the roads forever. And actually, I'm kind of honored to be a part of this because it helps to protect the natural part of beauty of my area, and we think it's wonderful. Born and raised in the community, lived there all my life. I still live there, and happy to be a part of Livable Hawaii Kai.
And today our show is about our campaign for Ka'iwi and the purchasing of the Mauka to Makai parcels. And if we can again pull up on the screen the map of Ka'iwi that we have. Laura, why don't you explain the process and the status of this campaign and what it's all about?
Sure. Well, years back, many people may remember the No Cabins on Ka'iwi campaign. The parcels that are on the screen now outlined in orange have been slated for various developments over the years, and really all of the beautiful green overlay that you see there are protected lands that are protected because community came together, especially from Waimānalo and the Maunalua area, but really it's been an island-wide and beyond that effort to protect those lands, as Makapu'u is the easternmost point of Oahu, and this is a very special landscape. And so the last community effort really to protect the open space is these two parcels here, the Ka'iwi Coast Mauka lands. And in 2006, that's when the proposal came forward to develop these lands as a luxury vacation cabin subdivision. And the community rallied in support of preservation, and had always told the Trust for Public Land that if the opportunity arose to eventually purchase and protect those lands, that is what the community wish was. And so now we're in this place where the opportunity did arise to purchase the lands, and the Trust for Public Land has entered into a purchase agreement to purchase those lands, and we're working as quickly as possible to raise the remaining funding to do so.
And what exactly is the role of the Trust for Public Land, and what other projects or things do you do besides just this Ka'iwi agreement?
Sure. So the Trust for Public Land assists local communities to protect their own special natural places. So for some communities that could mean a fish pond, for some communities that could mean a forested area, even a park or community garden. So it's really the wish of the community that drives what projects we work on. And our mission, our short mission is Land for People. So we're about projects that connect people of Hawaii, this is our local program, people of Hawaii back to the Aina here. And so our role and the main tool that we're using to accomplish that is to negotiate the transaction and raise all of the funding that's needed in partnership with Livable Hawaii Kai Hui to purchase the land and just see it through to completion so that this vision can actually come forth.
And Wilson, as Laura said, Ka'iwi is not, often it is associated with just Hawaii Kai, but you're a Waimānalo resident. How important it is, not just for Hawaii Kai people, but for people across the island and even all the communities?
It's a road we use every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. I'm not sure if you remember a number of years back where they tried to widen that road that's against the mountain, and they wanted the road to stick out and make it into a 4-lane highway, which was really kind of a crazy idea. As a member of the neighborhood board, I've been involved in all of the improvements in the particular area. If you go close to the mountain, you will notice that there is a net, and we work to provide the net because of the falling rocks. Some of the cars have been hit, and so we provided that. If you look at the area where the lookout is, we tried to preserve, there's an area along the roadside where it is called the King's Highway. It was over 100 years old. And it's this big flat rocks that went for about 100 yards. And in making of the lookout, they widened the road and they buried the King's Highways. And we just try to protect the natural things like that. And when they tried to build a lookout, they were hauling the rocks away to build stone walls. And we thought that the rocks should be naturally left there. They were taking the cactus out of there and hauling the cactus away, and cactus belong all my life.
Sure.
We've seen the cactus belong there, so it's been some challenges.
Now, this is a question for both of you, and I'm going to start with Laura. Basically, if this agreement does go through, what's going to happen afterwards, or what is really the significance of purchasing those land, and what does it mean for the future generations? And if we can get up on the screen the pictures of Ka'iwi that was kindly provided by Elizabeth Riley, that would be great. But we'll start with you.
Yeah, for us, I guess there's 2 main points to cover. One, the protection of the Ka'iwi Coast Mauka lands completes a 40-year effort to protect the entire Ka'iwi Coast. And so the Ka'iwi Coast is actually 7 miles of shoreline. So it stretches all the way from Kawaihoa, which is also known as Port Lock, all the way to Makapu'u. And so it includes Hanauma, it includes Halono, it includes Halona, it includes Kaloko and Avavamalu, which is Allen Davis, and the Ka'iwi Coast Mauka lands. And like we had talked about before, there's been years and years and hundreds and actually thousands of people that have put a lot of time and aloha into this effort, and so protecting these lands really honors that effort and also completes the protection of the Ka'iwi Coast. Sure. Yeah, and then secondly, through learning about these lands and having the opportunity to go up and see these lands, we've also learned about the undocumented ancient cultural sites there, and as Wilson had spoken about earlier, it's just so important to preserve what is there, because that's really what links kind of all of us back to Hawaii's past. So those are the 2 main reasons for us why it's so important.
It has a lot of cultural history, like Pele's sister used to reside there. Makapu'u, it means bulging eyes for the woman who used to reside there. So for us, it's very, very significant because it keeps the highway clear, and the beauty is unmatched. And the people who drive there don't realize there's a lake out there, and there's a sitting chair out there, and there's so many significant artifacts and areas that just in one stretch alone, there's about 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 Hawaiian names of the different areas that's there. So with all our might, we want to protect this area. And just that line of road is the prettiest in the islands, and we just want to keep it that way.
Totally unbiased, of course.
Totally unbiased. Well, where the Sandy Beach Road is, that used to be the old road. and that road used to go all the way down to the end where it goes around the curve. So when we used to come in the tidal wave of 1945, you'd stop there and the tidal wave would come up.
Right.
And after it came up, then all the cars would run past to go to town because that was the only way out of Waimānalo.
Wow.
So, you'd run past it. In those days were all jalapis and, older cars. But it's really significant. Then in high school, that's where the drag races were in Sandy Beach. And it's a well-used area. Yeah.
And I mean, since you mentioned Sandy Beach, over 25 years ago, we had the Save Sandy Beach initiative.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
For me, because I'm only 18, why don't you share to the audience more about what happened over 25 years ago?
Laura would probably share more on that.
Okay.
We were protecting Mauka and the area there, and the Livable Hawaii Kai was a bigger, more organized coalition, and they forcefully, had the organization and things. So I was just to protect the beach areas, and they were protecting the Mauka lines, the coastline.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, girl.
Well, it's all just hearing from you and others like Phil Esterman and Ursula Rutherford and Dave Matthews. Maybe if we could show one of the historic flyers, if that's okay.
Yeah, if we can bring that historic
screen.
flyer back
It's
up.
some beautiful photos
just for a
of the
second
area.
time. Yeah.
In the early 1970s, Wilson talked about the area to protect, or the effort to protect Waimānalo, which is also known as 80s or Allen Davis, that beach area, which is just Makai of the Mauka lands that we're trying to protect now. And starting all the way back in 1972, I think, real grassroots style, people coming together and holding signs that they made and doing what they could to protect that area, because there was a very large resort planned right there in that area that when you hike Makapu'u Trail, Lighthouse Trail, and you look down right there. And the community was so passionate about it that they succeeded in protecting that area. And then later on, with more knowledge of the coast, another development was proposed right across from Sandy Beach, and you had all the body surfers and everybody that spends time there really upset because that's their spot, right? That's where they go to connect and get refreshed. And so they actually got enough signatures, thousands of signatures, to get the issue on the ballot.
Right.
And won.
Yeah.
Won that vote, and it's a very historic vote in that the people don't have that power anymore. And so this, there's been so many people that have contributed over the years that this effort now is one small part, but one kind of critical part to complete everything.
Basically a big picture.
Yeah, the big picture.
You don't remember the hotel they were planning at Kaʻakua? They're going to build a hotel there, the yacht club that they were going to have on the point, a big yacht club with a golf course and everything. And this was big money that was involved. And somehow the grassroots efforts just really succeeded in shutting it down. I mean, the golf course would have been nice, but natural beauty is really nicer.
Sure, and going back to Laura, just going back is some of the photos of us sign waving just the other day. Can you explain more about the efforts of our campaign and what we've been doing and how we've been reaching out to get to our goal?
Sure. Well, I guess when I speak to friends about our effort, they say, "Wait, where is the land?" It's you pass Hawaii Kai Golf Course and then you look to your left, and people are really surprised that land there, which is that gently rolling hills, is not already protected. And so we've been working very hard, and we have the Youth for Ka'ivi out there, and Ka'ivi Coalition out there sign waving just to raise awareness and let people know, one, it's not protected, but that they play a really important role in both helping us reach our fundraising goal, and then also getting involved now so that when we are successful at protecting it, they can play a role in stewarding the area too.
Where they park now for the cars, below that they wanted to build a large parking lot for 8 buses and 100 cars. They wanted a snack shop, they wanted restrooms, all on the lower flat area to try to get it out of view. But you know, you can't get kind of things out of view. So the fact that it was protected, and I mean, you know, if you have to go to the restroom, there's a restroom in Mauka, but otherwise, you know, it's in its natural state. It's just remarkable.
And just going back, actually, if you can share to the audience, how did you personally got involved with this effort? And same goes with you, Wilson.
Well, I guess going way back or to the soul of it, it's just for me. Everything comes back to aloha aina and malama aina for me. So I'm really blessed that I can you know, practice those values on the weekend and also come to work and practice those values. So that's just, you know, my personal blessing. But in terms of this project, as the Native Lands Project Manager, I'm tasked with protecting lands that are important to Native Hawaiian communities and that help to perpetuate Hawaiian culture. So the Ka'iwi Coast Mauka lands definitely do that.
My part is my participation on the neighborhood board. I'm always highly protective of areas they want to develop, areas they want to move on to, and you know, all of that areas, there were many plans for it. And as part of the neighborhood board, you know, we want to keep it for the community. We want to keep it for the people who come to swim. I was born and raised at Makapu. I'd jump in the water at 8 o'clock in the morning and come out at 5 in the afternoon. I mean, you know, just, it was our lives, and with our paipo boards. I mean, you don't see paipos anymore, boogie boards, but it was just a way to be brought up in the country. And at this time, Waimānalo was way in the country and out of the perspective. Now, 30 minutes to town. It's a wonderful way to drive.
I mean, I'm asking, going to you, Wilson, because you know, East Oahu wasn't really developed until maybe just within the past 40 years.
Isn't it wonderful? When Henry Kaiser came in, I mean, he had magnificent plans, and you know, it was still grassroots as they built it. But no, I used to catch the bus from McKinley High School. I used to stop off where the Mormon church is now, and I used to hitchhike home 9 o'clock at night after swimming practice. So we always hitched a ride to school and from school, and we always got rides home. And it was a wonderful way to grow up. And all of the Luna Home Road was all car wrecking stations and farms and stuff. So even that was nice, you know. It was peaceful.
Now, Laura, for the Trust for Public Land, besides the Ka'iwi project, is there any actually other current projects? I would think that there's so many things going on right now for.
Oh, there's so many things. There's so many really positive efforts to reconnect the people of Hawaii back to Aina, or to strengthen those connections. We're working actually at another really significant site in terms of perpetuating Hawaiian culture and history. We work on all the islands, but one that comes to mind is the Kuamo'o battlefield, which is in Kekoa and is the site of the 1819 battle that ended the kapu system and really changed the future of Hawaii forever. And so in that very kind of sacred area, that battlefield, we're working with that community there to protect it and have that be in perpetuity. Sure. So things like that, and it's and it always has to come from community, right? So if you go to the Waimānalo neighborhood board and they say, no, we need to protect this, then we have to listen, right? And so it's the same thing. Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask both of you the same question. We'll start with Wilson this time. Of course, there's a lot of hands involved with this campaign, but in particularly there is, you know, the youth involvement with the Youth for Ka'iwi component. What do you see as far as, I mean, for youth being involved with this campaign, and it's not just an adult-driven?
Oh no, I think youth involvement is terrific. You know, I was involved in the political process through my dad when we were growing up. I waved signs all the way up to Kahala for candidates, and the youth need to be made aware of what's happening in their community and how to protect it, and the culture mixed with the living rights and everything, like the sea urchins, like the illegal fishing, and like all of these. The youth need to be involved to protect it, because our future is now past and it's for them. You know, everything that we'll leave behind is for them. So they need to be a part of it, a very, very strong part of it.
I just had, we presented to the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board last night on our Ka'iwi Mauka lands effort, and I had some younger people come up to me after and say that they're trying to get involved, and so I think it's great that you are youth for Ka'iwi, right? It's easy to be able to be somebody who's young and say, okay, that would be me, right? Identify with that, feel comfortable getting involved, because you know, youth want to be involved and they care deeply about Hawaii, and so giving them the way to plug in, you know, maybe they can't write a $500 check, but maybe they can give us 2 hours to wave a sign and raise awareness, or you know, have a booth at Sandy Beach, or there's so many ways. And then really the end goal is that the land will be protected, and that you can start to bring people into the land to maybe help with, say, a dry land reforestation project, make sure that people are understanding of what is appropriate behavior at Hawaiian cultural sites, those kinds of things. So there's so much kind of hands to the ground learning that is made possible whenever you are able to protect land.
Whenever you see youth, you think of family. So if I see you there, I think your dad's somewhere and your mom's somewhere, and it becomes like the eastern part of Oahu, a very family involvement thing, and that's important.
Well, no, thank you for joining today, and I think it was a great talk, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience were really to gain a lot of insight about Ka'iwi. But finally, for those who want to get involved, if you can pull up on the screen on the website of the Ka'iwiCoast.com. This is, if you want to get involved in any way, this is the way to go. Just visit Ka'iwiCoast.com, or see us on the highway. And wrapping up, my name is Kendrick Chang. Wrapping up for this episode of Maunalua, Past, Present, and Future. We just want to thank Ōlelo Studios, Kaimuki High School, and Livable Hawaii Kai Hui for organizing this segment.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mahalo, Kendrick.
All right. Mahalo, and take care.